right, it's 7:30. Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call to order the City of Camarillo Planning Commission hearing. This is a regular meeting of July 14th, 2020. Mr. Secretary, I would ask for a roll call now, please.
Thank you. Commissioner Edsall.
Here.
Commissioner Espinosa.
Here.
Commissioner Vandermeulen.
Here.
Vice Chair Talmadge.
Here.
Chairman Murphy.
Here.
All present. Thank you.
And again, good to see everyone. That brings us to the flag salute for this evening, and I would ask Commissioner Vandermeulen to lead us in the pledge, please.
Okay, if you would put your hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We are now on item 4, which is to approve the minutes of our last meeting or our last hearing. That was a regular meeting that was held June 16th, 2020. I think you've all had an opportunity to review those minutes and open it up for any commissioner comments, questions on those minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented in the packet for the June 16, 2020 meeting.
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Edsall and seconded by Commissioner Vandermeulen. Let's go ahead and vote. We'll start with Commissioner Edsall.
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandermeulen?
Yes.
Vice Chair Talmadge?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well, so that motion carries 5-0. Thank you. My understanding is that there is no one that in public comments, we're opening public comments, and my understanding is that there's no one in council chambers or who has expressed an interest in participating this evening on an item that is not on our agenda this evening. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you, Chairman Murphy. There are no public comments this evening.
Okay. Then we'll go ahead and close public comment, and that moves us into item 6, which is the public hearing for CUP 406, Shira Wine LLC, and we would ask for a staff report at this time, please.
Thank you. We will have a presentation by Sam Dominguez on the proposed project.
Good evening, Chair Murphy and fellow planning commissioners. This conditional use permit is for Shira Wine LLC, a proposed winery in an existing industrial building. The proposed winery is located at 805 Via Alondra on the westerly side of Via Alondra. Shira Wine LLC is requesting approval of a conditional use permit for a winery within an existing 6,222 square foot industrial space within the light manufacturing zone. A tasting room is not being requested as part of the CUP. Shira Wine LLC would produce approximately 7,200 gallons or 36,300 bottles of wine per year. The wine will be bottled and packaged on site for online distribution. The proposed hours of operation for the facility are Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and Sundays will be as needed for maintenance work. No work will be done on Saturdays. The existing building is currently vacant. The floor plan for the building includes areas for office space, restroom and hallway, the proposed winery, and warehouse. I may add that the warehouse and the office, as well as the yellow area in the middle, are not part of the winery. There is access to the restrooms, however, which are in that yellow area shown. And also, there is going to be a wall being built that separates the winery itself from the rest of the warehouse area, which is not there right now. The 6,222 square foot winery requires a total of 8 parking spaces. The remaining uses in the building include office and warehouse uses. The total parking required in the building, including the proposed winery, is 49 parking spaces. The site provides 69 spaces on site, resulting in a surplus of 20 parking spaces with the proposed winery. The project was reviewed in accordance with CEQA and was determined to be categorically exempt under Class 1 existing facilities. Staff recommends approval of the proposed CUP, subject to the conditions of approval. The action of the Planning Commission is final unless an appeal is filed within 10 days of the date of their action. At this point, I may also like to add that staff has received 1 public comment in support of the proposed project. This concludes staff's report.
All right, Mr. Dominguez, thank you very much. Wonderful report. Do we have any questions for staff on this application of the Planning Commissioners this evening?
Just had a question about the liquor license because it's manufacturer sell a wine, they require a liquor license, but what is the difference between that type 2? They can't have any consumption on the premises? Is that the main difference?
Commissioner Etzel, are you referring to the Type 2 wine grower's license?
Yes.
It's specifically for the production of wine. I'm not sure if...
And so if they wanted to add a tasting room, they would have to get a different type of license or get something in addition to this?
That is correct, yes. As of right now, they are not proposing a tasting area. However, in the future, if they would like to add that, they would come back to the Planning Commission and they would need a different license for that. I don't know at the moment what type of license that would be.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other questions by commissioners for staff?
Yes, I have a question. There was an indication that there was 1 comment on the proposed project. What is the nature of that comment?
Yeah, this was in support of the winery itself, and it was from a person in that same development. It was one of the property owners, and that's not the same development, down the street from the proposed winery that was in support of this winery.
Was there any active notification to adjacent either property owners or tenants of other buildings to comment on this, or did this just come in out of the blue?
Yes, Commissioner Talmadge, this was actually notified to everyone within 600 feet of the proposed winery.
Right. And so you only got 1 comment?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
We followed the public noticing procedures established by ordinance for public hearing associated with the conditional use permit. It also included publication in the paper and an on-site sign, as well as the mail out to property owners within 600 feet. So we did a thorough public outreach associated with the public hearing.
No, I understand that. I just thought it was interesting that only 1 person responded, and that's fine. Thank you.
You answered my question. My questions as far as the fact that they are going to be building the demising wall back in the warehouse and that they are not using any of the office space. So I'm good with that. I don't have any other questions.
Okay, and anyone else with any, Commissioner Espinosa, go ahead, please.
Yeah, just want to know if you can speak to how it actually works, since we've had one recently, and whether this type of operation, that is like production and sales, off-site sales, maybe something that's become more and more popular. How it works in terms of the actual sales tax, if you're selling in Camarillo or outside the region or even out of state, how that's working.
That's a good question. So if it's retail sales, we would be able to recoup some taxes locally for the county and the city. If it's wholesale, that's different. That's something that is in a different tax bracket. And I think that'd be a well-suited question to provide for the applicant to answer, because I think they could answer the particulars of how this operation will perform in response to that inquiry.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions by commissioners on this? Okay. The only question I have is, and it has to do with what Commissioner Etzel was asking about. If the operator decides to add on-site sales to this facility, would that be a modification to this CUP, or would it be a brand new CUP? I think you mentioned it would need to, in addition to the ABC license, it would be a brand new, or would it be a new CUP?
It would be a modification to this CUP, and it would have to go through the similar process that we're conducting this evening.
All right, thank you. Okay, any further questions? All right, then we'll go ahead and open the public testimony. I understand that there is a representative, an applicant representative here this evening. If that individual could step forward and state your name, and if you'd like to talk about the project, that fine, or just be available for questions, that's okay too.
Hi, this is Gabriel West from Shiro Wine.
Hi, Gabriel. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
And of course. Do we have any commissioner questions for Gabriel this evening?
I can re-ask my question. I had a question regarding the off-site sales, and it was partially answered, but whether or not the operation of wine production and sales is intended to be wholesale or retail, and how that taxing might occur as impacted Camarillo.
Hello.
Good question.
Hi, I'm sorry, Gabe. This is Ben Weber here as well. I'm sorry, I see I was muted when I was speaking, so I'm also here on behalf. I can answer questions as well. I apologize for that.
Okay, welcome, Ben. Thank you.
Thank you. So if you don't mind, before your question, I'll just give you a brief history about Shiro Wine and what brings us to Camarillo. Shiro Wine has been in business for the past 10 years. We have been producing wine based in Santa Maria, California. Santa Maria, the winemakers of Shiro Wine are in the Los Angeles area, and the grapes are primarily purchased from Santa Barbara and the surrounding areas, and they're brought into the wineries, and they're crushed and processed over there. Being that Santa Maria is so far away from Los Angeles, the burden of travel and everything else became difficult on the winemakers, so we were looking to have a place closer to Los Angeles, but yet in an attractive industrial park where we may have the future and the ability to do a tasting room in the future. So currently we're moving the existing winery, our existing production, over to this, we're hoping to move it to this facility. And to answer your question in regards to where we sell it to, currently all the sales are done either online sales direct to consumer, or otherwise it's done wholesale to wholesalers who sell it to stores throughout the country, mainly in 10 to 12 states. However, the direct sale to consumers on site, the only way we can do that is with a future eventual tasting room. Due to the timing of us trying to get into the space before this harvest in order to be able to complete the move before this harvest, we did not have enough time to plan out a tasting room, so we said, let's just move forward with the existing winery and the existing production, and once we're established in this location, and we may look at possible expansion or things like that, at that point we would come back and look at a CUP expansion and a modification to include a tasting room, if that makes sense at the time.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was well articulated. Appreciate that.
Okay, do we have any further questions for the applicant? Yes. Commissioner Vandermeulen, you need to unmute yourself. Are you? Yeah.
There. Thank you. I just had a question a little bit on how much of the year will you be processing the grapes? How seasonal will this be versus year-round?
So on a typical basis, the processing of the grapes are in the months of September, October, and partial November. It's literally 3 months of the year. Sometimes in late years, dry years, it may go into the end of November, beginning of December. Other than that, we do get involved in bottling sometimes in the spring. That would be a few days out of the month. And besides for that, it's just basic maintenance where we're topping off the barrels and just some maintenance around the warehouse and the winery, and that's about it.
How long does the wine sit in the barrel?
Typically, wine that goes in the vats. You know what, Gabe? You're the winemaker. I'll let you answer that one. I think you'd have a better answer on that.
Sure. So white wine and rosé wine tends to be just a few months. It comes in in September, October, ferments to dryness, and then we just get it processed ready for bottling. Usually January, February of the next year, it's in bottle. So it's just a few months. Red wines ranges from generally 1 year to 22 months.
Wow, thank you.
Welcome.
I don't have any other questions.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, the only question I had to do with the region from where the grapes were coming, and Mr. Weber answered that thoroughly. I appreciate that. And so I'm looking, no further questions from the commissioners. It is my understanding that there is, again, no one from the public that is interested in coming forward and speaking about this application. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Then we'll go ahead and close the public testimony on this and go into commissioner comments, recommendations for this application. Go ahead, Commissioner Etzel.
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward, kind of a nice use and a good location there, and I think it'll fit well in Camarillo, and it's going to partially fill up a vacant building and create some jobs here, so I support it, and we'll vote for it.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Vandermeulen?
Well, it seems to be a growing area for a wine business in the industrial park because it's not too far from the Cousins and the one we heard a few weeks ago or a month ago. It does seem to fit in the area, and it looks like there's a need for it, but certainly people are going to enjoy it eventually, locally, hopefully. So I think it'll work well.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Espinosa.
I would support it, and I would move forward with the reading of the resolution, and if the commission feels prepared to do that.
All right, thank you. Vice Chair Talmadge?
I think it's interesting how we have seen a couple of these come across recently. I guess we're the place to be in between everybody, between the growers and the consumers, which is not a bad place to be, right in the middle, and that's okay. With respect to this particular application, I don't have a problem. I think it's very straightforward, and I think it's a clean industry that we all can support. And we've heard about the potential for jobs and other things, but I think it's a good use, and I'll be very interested to see when they come forward for perhaps additional space for tasting room or other things that may have a retail outlet that benefits the community. But overall, I'm in support of the project. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments, recommendations? And I'll go ahead and just say that I'm in line with all the comments that were made this evening by my fellow commissioners. It's nice to have new applications for business in this town when so many are struggling just to stay in business. Schra's been around for 10 years. They're an established business. I believe that they will be successful here, and for reasons that go beyond the tax revenue, I am hoping that they will succeed and consider in the future opening a tasting room. So that being the case, let's go ahead and call for a resolution.
Thank you, Chairman Murphy. Resolution number PC 2020-15, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Camarillo approving a conditional use permit request by Shiraz Wine, LLC for the operation of a winery under a Type 2 wine grower ABC license in a 6,222 square foot suite within an existing industrial building located at 805 Via Olanda in the light manufacturing M1 zone, further described as CUP 406.
I'll make a motion to waive further reading and vote for adoption.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Edsel and seconded by, I believe, Commissioner Espinosa. Is that correct?
Correct.
So let's go ahead and vote. We'll do this individually. Commissioner Espinosa?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandermeulen?
Yes.
Commissioner Edsel?
Yes.
Vice Chair Talmadge?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. The motion carries 5-0. Congratulations, and again, good job to planning staff and the applicant bringing this to the city.
So congratulations to the applicants. That concludes your public hearing, and congratulations on being awarded approval of the CUP.
Thank you so much, everybody. I do have to publicly commend the staff again. We've asked for this on an expedited basis. Sam has gone above and beyond together with the rest of the crew to accommodate us, to help us, and to help make it easy and expedite the process of bringing us to this town, and we really, really appreciate it. Bring us to the city, actually, and we really, really appreciate it, and we look forward to doing business here. And as you all said, hopefully we can all enjoy the wine together and in some tasting room someday. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for the compliment. We appreciate it when staff is complimented, and I know Sam has done a great job with this, and we're grateful for the kind words. I also want to share with the Commission that it's unique in that this winery will be offering kosher wine, which is something that's new to the town for that as an opportunity, and we're excited about that as well, and proud to have this winery be a part of our community.
Fantastic. Okay, that brings us to item 7, which is the director's report. Do we have a report this evening?
Yes, we do. So I wanted to share a very brief update on the COVID-19 pandemic and California's recent updates as presented to us by Governor Gavin Newsom. And that is, unfortunately, that there's a new order that we must close churches and indoor dining, movie theaters, barber shops, nail salons, and fitness centers. So we're discouraged by that news, but we also want to make sure that we're appropriately safeguarding the community from the pandemic. I did want to share some good news, and that is the staff had worked in presenting our city council with a temporary outdoor dining permit procedure, and that has been successful in the operation of 24 restaurants throughout Camarillo that have moved their dining outdoors, and in most instances, it's been very well received by the community. I've personally attended and visited and eaten at several of the eateries in town that have the outdoor patios, and so I don't want to single out any one in particular because they've all been terrific. But if you have an opportunity to try to help those businesses by providing patronage, I think that'd be great for the public out there. You can also stop and eat locally to support our Camarillo businesses. That would be terrific. So I'll pause for a moment to see if there's any questions on that topic, and if there are, I'd like to answer them. Yes, Luis.
I have a question about salons.
Yes.
Now, I understand that they were on the list for closure, but are they also restricted from exterior operations as well?
There was further clarification that yes, those will be restricted from exterior operations.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. I want to report out that we do not anticipate any additional meetings in July. Our next scheduled Planning Commission meeting would be August 18th, and we do anticipate having 2 significant projects for review by the Planning Commission. The first will be the Supplemental Environmental Impact Report and the General Plan Amendment number 2018-01, which also has, in association with that application, a change of zone application and a tentative track map, and it's for the Rancho property, which is in the northwest quadrant of the Springville interchange. So it's where the Shorley farmhouse currently exists. And so the applicant, Dennis Hartgrave, has been working on that for several years now, and we're at the point to bring it forward for Planning Commission consideration and recommendation of the City Council. And then also that evening, we anticipate having a modification to the Industrial Plan Development Permit with a mitigated negative declaration for the Rexford industrial property. And the proposal is to demolish some existing office buildings and construct a new 111,500 square foot multi-tenant industrial building with an additional area of 52,026 square feet to the existing building. And that is going to be in the industrial building on Mission Oaks, just east of the 2 buildings that are currently under internal renovations and some paint facade renovations for the Amazon facility. So those are what we anticipate having on August 18th. And as we get closer, if those for some reason need to be pushed out, we'll definitely update the commissioners. But if you could please make sure that your calendar is tentatively on hold for that evening, because we will most likely need your attendance at the meeting. And then we received a very good question from Commissioner Espinosa on when modifications come through, how is it determined that it gets reviewed by the Planning Commission and or city staff? And the complicated answer is it's on a case-by-case basis, and it depends really on what's proposed. So when Amazon had originally come forward, we anticipated they were going to be doing some demolition and additions and reworking the overall existing property to the point where it would be significantly changed from what exists today. But in the end, all they really needed to do was paint and spruce up the parking lot and landscaping areas in some roll-up doors and address some of the delivery bays, and it did not exceed a threshold that needed to go before the Planning Commission. So it was reviewed and approved at the director level. And in most instances, if that's what we can do and it helps facilitate new business recovery or business retention, we of course want to work with our development community to accommodate that so that it helps those businesses stay in Camarillo and grow in Camarillo. So that was a good question. I thought I'd share it with all the commissioners. So that concludes my director report this evening. I see a commission question from Commissioner Talmadge.
Yes, thank you. Good report. The mitigated negative declaration you were talking about, the industrial building on Mission Oaks, is that almost adjacent to the Amazon facility?
Yes, it is.
Down by the railroad track?
No, it's adjacent to the Amazon facility, and then also adjacent to the former Technicolor.
Yeah, right. Okay. All right. I just was unclear exactly where it was. Okay.
And then the draft M&D is available on our website under the pending projects, by the way.
Okay. And what about the other project that's near the Springville exit? That you say it's a supplemental EIR. Is that also available on the online?
Yes, it is under pending projects.
Okay. Will we be getting a separate copy of that prior to the meeting, or do we solely look at those online?
So the draft document's out for public review right now.
Yes.
And typically that's just open and available for the public, including commissioners and decision makers in the city. So once that is put into a final format, then we would provide that to the commissioners as part of the agenda report on the entitlement applications and the environmental documents.
Okay, my concern is one of timing, that if we get a supplemental EIR on a Thursday before a Tuesday meeting, that's not a whole lot of time to look at the document. And I'm wondering if we can get that ahead of time, or do we have to look at it online?
We're going to do our best to get that out to you as soon as possible in advance of when it goes to public hearing.
Yeah, same would be true of the MND. Right.
We're in agreement on that, yes.
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's great. Moving into any final commissioner comments. That did wrap up the director's report, is that correct?
It did. There's one very important piece of information I also want to share, and that is that we have an excellent new city manager on board. His name is Greg Ramirez, and he comes to us from Agoura Hills.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's very, very experienced city manager. Right. And a very kind gentleman, and we're very happy to have him leading our ship and steering our ship. And we anticipate that he will attend the Planning Commission meeting on August 18th.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Do you think we'll be in person, or do you think we'll still be virtual?
We were hopeful that the City Council would consider having in-person meetings in late August. However, that's definitely in flux right now because we took 2 or 3 steps forward and now we've taken 2.5 steps back.
Okay.
Based on the input received from the governor yesterday and the day before. And so it's going to be challenging to really be able to answer that with any certainty at this time. So if I had to guess right this moment, I would say no. Most likely we'll probably be utilizing the Zoom platform for meetings in August.
Okay. Would you say hello to Greg on my behalf? We did work together many years ago.
Absolutely.
Right.
All right. Any final commissioner comments for this evening?
Yeah, I just had one question on the presentation tonight, and I had it in the packet, but because all I got was the city logo. Were we supposed to be able to see that on the Zoom platform as well, or just rely on the packet that we had in front of us?
It did project through the Zoom platform. I saw it rolling and scrolling through the Zoom. Did all the other commissioners?
I had it.
It came through on mine.
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay, then what did I not press? I looked at the frame that says presentations. I thought it would be in there, and all I got was the city logo on that.
You know, it must have been a glitch, but I think what would be good is after the Zoom meeting officially ends, if David Moe and our staff can coordinate with you, if you stay on the Zoom while everyone logs out, then they can walk you through that process to make sure hopefully it doesn't happen.
Okay.
David, did you get that?
Yeah, there's a little selection on the upper right of the picture. You can select whether you want a full screen of who's talking or little thumbnails of each person.
Oh, okay. Okay, I get that. Mine's actually on the left side of my screen.
Well, okay, all right.
But yeah, okay.
So, David Moe, did you hear that? Can you help facilitate that after the official meeting is over?
Yes, we can do that.
Thank you. So, David, Edsel, after everyone leaves the meeting, if you could please stay on and coordinate with David Moe and our IT staff is there.
Okay.
Thank God for our IT staff. They've been doing an amazing job keeping all this patchwork of communications together. So just stay on the line, on the Zoom, and they'll help facilitate that.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Any further comments by the commissioners for this evening?
So just thank you again to the staff. We appreciate the work you do, and thank you especially to Sam. It's really nice to get those kind of compliments. So
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say the same. Me too.
Yeah, Sam did a great job, and I too like the tech people that put all this together because that's not my field. So I appreciate all the help and pointers I get. So thank you.
By the time we have this 100% nailed down, it'll be time to return to chambers.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay too. Okay, anyone else? And I just wanted to echo the appreciation for what planning staff and the city council has done to keep businesses open. Seeing them expand out, literally sharing the road in some cases so they could keep their doors open. I love seeing it in town, and I know that didn't come without a whole lot of hard work from staff and council. So I just wanted to express my appreciation for that. All right. If there are no further comments from the commissioners, I want to thank everyone, and I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting adjourned.
Good night, everybody.